A good example is the new Cross Bay Bridge in Queens, which connects to the Rockaways. It was built while traffic remained open in this burgeoning recreational and residential area. The governor, who's been a spearhead in developing New York's mass transportation program, underscored the MTA philosophy at the opening of the bridge.
The ceremony at the opening of this bridge lets us pause for a moment to consider a piece of work well done. And I'd like to say in conclusion that our real task is to continue to move ahead, to continue to anticipate and build for the region's future. The men and women of the MTA are doing just that. They're moving our people today and planning how better to move them tomorrow.
The future. Talk about the future and people start asking questions. For instance, when the MTA had taken over Stewart Air Force Base, 80 miles from Manhattan, some people wondered what was going on. Stewart is out in the country now, but someday it will be the hub of a major transportation center.
The air traffic situation in New York has been a mess. One thing that's been done has been the MTA's takeover of these airports to relieve the congestion of the metropolitan airports. This has been the best thing that's happened for general aviation in this area ever.
At Republic Airport, a transportation center is being built right now. Transportation centers are being planned and built all over the region, especially in the growing suburbs. They'll be able to handle planes, cabs, buses, trains, and private cars. All transportation will work together, and passengers will have everything they need to get someplace. Speaking of getting someplace, the roads to Kennedy International Airport are clogged today. And because the number of people using JFK may very well shoot from 20 million to 40 million a year in the next 10 years, engineers are going to connect Manhattan directly to JFK with a high-speed rail link.
The clog up at Kennedy is worse now than it's ever been, even with the number of planes that they've been cutting down going into it. And what you're talking about here just has to be expedited as fast as we can do it, because this thing is so important.
Well, Kennedy's the only major airport, I think, in the world showing a loss in growth this year.
Right. And it's going to be more of a loss next year than this year, because they're making plans for Philadelphia, Baltimore, and the other places, rather than Kennedy, the airlines, not to have the trouble with the passengers coming out here. It's just unbelievable. So we've got to do something maybe even faster.
Much of the transportation future will be hidden below the ground in more than 50 miles of new subways. Soon there will be a new two-track subway that will run the length of Manhattan on 2nd Avenue right up to the Bronx.
It'll be faster to get to the Bronx, and it'll take a lot of pressure off the Lexington Avenue line.
Also in the Bronx, the Dyer Avenue and Pelham lines will be completely modernized.
The service is fine here, but I'm glad the MTA decided to paint and improve and clean it up. From a woman's point of view, we really appreciate it.
In Brooklyn, there will be the Utica Avenue line from Eastern Parkway to Flatbush Avenue and Avenue U, and the Nostrand Avenue extension in Brooklyn from Avenue H to Avenue W.
When they build these new subway extensions in this neighborhood, it should really help business.
And the Super Express bypass in Queens that will cut down the rush hour jam to Forest Hills. And a new subway along the Long Island Expressway. And a new transit line next to the Long Island Railroad serving southeast Queens. And the Staten Island Rapid Transit System will be rehabilitated. It needs it. What has been seen represents more than $2 billion in long-needed transportation improvements, which were given life by the people of the state of New York, who overwhelmingly voted for the state transportation bond issue in 1967. But these projects are not the end of the quest for better transportation. To look even further into the future, some MTA studies are underway on a new idea for moving people around the middle of Manhattan. The planners call it a people mover. May not look exactly like this, but it will take people across town without getting tangled up with buses, cars, and other traffic. And there's a new kind of rail car being tested. It generates its own electricity and will bring people into the city without their having to change trains, no matter where they come from. But the most spectacular project is now nothing but a hole in the ground on Welfare Island.
How are we doing now? What are they actually at work on at this point?
Well, actually, so the dredge is out excavating the soil overburden from the top of the rock. We have accomplished about 80,000 yards. We're about 80% completed with the excavation of the overburden.
It's the 63rd Street Tunnel, almost 3,000 feet long, that will run from Manhattan to Queens, under the East River and through Welfare Island. A dredge in the East River is scooping out a deep channel in the riverbed, a channel that is an extension of 63rd Street. This is paving the way for a day in 1971 when a tugboat comes up the East River and under the Queensboro Bridge, having traveled all the way from Maryland. It has a huge sealed tube in tow, one of the 4 tubes that will carry the tunnel under the river. 8 tons of rock are loaded onto the top of the tube, weighting it down and sinking it into the channel of the riverbed. Opening to traffic in 1976, this will be the largest tunnel of its kind ever built. The wheels of the Transit Authority subway system will roll on the top deck. On the bottom deck, the trains of the Long Island Railroad, going to and from a new Long Island Railroad terminal on the east side of Manhattan. This new tunnel is just one of the many things that the entire metropolitan region can look forward to. An effort is being made to make life a little better for everyone. An effort that will make some sense out of transportation, because transportation is our lifeline. What is done in the future depends on how easily this metropolis can be kept in motion. And that's where the MTA comes in, to keep the great New York metropolitan region alive and moving. For all of us, not as a mass, but as millions of individuals with individual tastes and hopes and needs and dignity.